The globe is connected by thousands of visible and invisible routes. Every autumn, millions of birds rush along these routes from severe Siberia to the wintering grounds of warmer Africa, Asia Minor and India. With the onset of spring, the feathered pilgrims come back home. This happens year on year, century on century, and millennium on millennium. And there is a great mystery surrounding this everlasting nomadic behaviour, which the human mind cannot fathom. Where do the birds fly? How do they orient themselves in the air? And how do they transform information from generation to generation about their routes and wintering grounds? Epochs change, the appearance of the globe changes, civilizations and people change, but the route of birds remains eternal and unchanging. One of the major migration routes of birds extends along the northern foothills of the Tian Shan, surprisingly following the Great Silk Road. The main flow of birds migrate along the mountain systems of the Altai and Tian Shan towards the Caspian Sea and further via Asia to Africa. But other busy flows spread from this route towards India like river channels. It is said that there are some kind of dispatch stations on the birds' migration routes where such divisions take place. One such key place is Alakol, which attracts migrants from the vast territory of Central Asia like a heaven-sent beacon. Tired after their long migration, numerous flocks of birds descend on the lakes, where they find their long-awaited rest and food. Having rested, they then fly off again, some flocks heading west and others to the south. Kazakhstan is internationally famous for its wetlands as well as for massive migration accumulations. Over 350 species arrive here for nesting and during the migration season. Every 6 months, millions of birds migrate through the Republic. The alakol-sassykol lake system is one of the country's wetlands. Its water basins accommodate numerous migrating, nesting and wintering water and semi-aquatic fowl, including commercial species. So what attracts them to this location? The uniqueness of the territory within the alakol-sassykol lake system lies in the extremely close proximity of different ecosystems. Deserts, sand deserts, grit deserts and steppe landscape areas are located within a few kilometers of each other, and mountain massives and other lake systems are almost adjacent to them, which is favorable for the inhabitants, for the wild animals. The freshwater Sassykol Lake is adjacent to the saline Alakol Lake, as a result of which, a mosaic combination of different habitats, this lake system is inhabited with diverse animals, rare, protected and endemic species being amongst them. The Alakol Trough occupies a 10,000 square metre interridge depression between the mountain systems of the Jungarian Alatau and Tarbagatai in the southeastern part of Kazakhstan. The pass between these two massives is called the Jungarian Gate. In ancient China, it was marked on maps as Hin Las, meaning the Earth's door. Caravan routes on the Great Silk Road, which had key strategic importance for the Central Asian region, wound through this pass. Lake Alakol is mentioned in Chinese sources starting from the chronicles of the Yuan dynasty. The caravanners noticed the amazing healing properties of its water, which encouraged fast healing of minor wounds and cuts. Ancient kurgans and petroglyphic drawings discovered in the vicinity of the Alakol Lake prove the fact that people inhabited this area in early epochs. Semenov Tianshansky, the prominent Russian traveller and researcher who visited this area in September 1857, wrote in his journal, "The Alakol Lake Basin consists of two main lakes, eastern and western ones. They are divided by a marsh neck of land some 20 verst wide, which is partly overgrown with reed, dappled with small lagoons and connected by a canal. Numerous animals and birds inhabit this area." Another Russian traveller, V.A. Obrushev, when describing the well-known Yevgey wind that dominates these territories, wrote, "The wind is so strong that it carries small stones, and it is almost impossible to ride on horseback towards it." According to the researcher, local people said that sometimes the wind can carry away houses and cattle to the lake. The Yevgey wind originates from the Ebyanur Desert depression in China and passing through the Jungarian Gate gains destructive force, destroying everything in its path. On Lake Alakol, the Yevgey wind causes strong storms with waves of up to 4 or 5 meters in height, which are especially ruinous for bird nesting sites on the islands and sandbanks. From the Balkhash lakeside, the northwestern wind blows regularly and is called Saykan. Both winds, alternating each other, blow regularly in the Alakol area all year round. The Jungar Gate has been known from ancient times as the wind tunnel of the Central Asian region. The climate of the Alakol Trough is extremely continental, with dry summers and relatively low snow levels, albeit a cold and windy winter. According to its specifics, climatologists define the Alakol area as having its own climatic region. During the winter period, thaws occur often with rain and subsequent snowfalls and frozen spells, which cause hard ice, which causes the frosting of trees and the death of many animals. Such spells are especially harmful for the Mongolian pheasant, and it is even thought that it has been completely lost in the Alakol Trough. Pheasants inhabit the riparian woodlands or tugai near the rivers, where they eat oleaster, buckthorn and blackthorn berries. Flocks of partridges stay close to low-snow steppe sites and the roads in winter. White-tailed eagles, which are the largest birds of prey in the Alakol area, winter along the lake shore. Winter in Alakol is a severe season. The soil is covered with snow and the lakes are frozen with ice. All living beings hide in the reeds near the lakes during this period. Wild boars hide in the hard-to-reach gorges. One forestry watcher pointed out a wild boar's ground not far from his wintering site. According to him, the master of the Reed Eden was staying here during daytime after feeding at night. Sometimes Siberian roes arrive in the thick tugai near the river. Early in the morning, the snow is frequently imprinted with many tracks. For example, this is a Corsac fox, a small steppe fox, which has been hunting for mice, and here the frozen riverbed was hastily crossed by a Tolai hare. It ate the bitter roots of osier bed, and after leaving strange swirling tracks it disappeared into the tugai. Fires have recently become a major problem for the coastal nature. In autumn, large sections of reed breaks burn out completely, and the fires are ferocious in these protected areas. Everything perishes in the path of fire, including both small animals and birds. In winter, the snow covers the wounds caused by the fire. Nature continues its struggle for existence, and very soon a fresh sprout makes its way from a ruined poplar, and life goes on. In spite of the frequent frosts, the channels of many rivers, springs and canals remain unfrozen, where many waterfowl and semi-aquatic birds winter. Among them, ducks, mallards, golden eyes and smews winter here. Individual couples of swans spend the winter here also, both hooper and mute swans, common and great white herons, and sometimes even geese. Along the loud mountain rivers, thus reviving the neighbourhood with their piping and twittering, dippers arrive and forage by diving into the icy water. Scientists have determined the wintering sites of a total of 116 bird species in the alakol trough. The majority of these are represented by the passerine, bearded and long-tailed tits, azure tits, chaffinches, finches, siskins, Asiatic goldfinches, blackbirds and many others. In mid-March, the exciting period of the spring migration starts. The first messengers of spring are pallas and black-bellied sandgrouses, which come from the Jungar deserts of China and fly inland to the Kazakh steppes. Following them, thousands of flocks of pintails and other ducks begin to migrate. Grey geese, swans and Dalmatian and roseate pelicans come. The role of numerous water bodies of the alakol-sassykol lake system is critical during the period of time for hundreds of thousands of migrating waterfowl and semi-aquatic birds. It seems it was predetermined by the grand scheme of nature that the alakol lake would host numerous pilgrims and guests on the eternal route of life, and to host them and see them off on their long journey. Inevitably it gets warmer and the birds leave for the north and are replaced by new migrating flocks. This process continues until the scorching alakol summer arrives. The nesting period is the most responsible period in a bird's life, and peace and quiet are required in the places where they build their nests. This is the most important function of the Alakol Natural Park, established to preserve the wetlands of the Tentek Delta and its numerous inhabitants. Many canals and lakes among the vast reed beds are a unique place for the nesting of numerous species of waterfowl and semi-aquatic birds, including those registered in the Red Book of Endangered Species. Other reserved areas are stone islands on the Alakol Lake. This is the location for massive nesting colonies of seagulls. The bulk of the colonies located on the rocky highlands of one of the islands are common and gull-billed terns, great black-headed gulls, herring gull, relic gulls and pranticles. Here, numerous nests of the common cormorant and a small colony of Dalmatian pelicans can be found. Nesting mainly takes place between April and June. At the beginning of May, pelicans and cormorants have chicks in their nests, and in the Alakol Islands, common and gull-billed terns occupy their colonies and start laying eggs only at the beginning of June. During June, dabbling and diving ducks start mewing. Cock mallards, gadwalls, red-crested and common pochards, which leave hen birds to arrange the nests, gather into flocks of many thousands and migrate to Alakol Lake. This is the mewing place for grey geese and mute swans. Alakol is a saline inland drainage lake oriented from the northwest to the southeast. The length of the lake is 104 kilometers, its width is 52 kilometers, and the length of the coastline is 384 kilometers. Its maximum depth is 54 meters. 3 rocky islands are located in the center of the lake: Ulken-Aralta Bay, Sredni, and Kishkine-Aralta Bay. Within the alakol-sassykol system, 38 bird species occur that have been registered in the Red Book of Endangered Species. Of them, 22 species nest here. These are the Dalmatian and roseate pelicans, spoonbills, black storks, hooper swans, ferruginous ducks, stiff-tails, white-tailed eagles, harrier eagles, imperial eagles, steppe eagles, common cranes, demoiselle cranes, bustards, little bustards, great black-headed gulls, relic gulls, and many others. There are a lot of places in Kazakhstan where, in such relatively small territories, so many species nest which require protection. It isn't by chance that the Alakol lakes have been proposed for inclusion in the Ramsar Register of Wetlands of International Importance. In June 1968, ornithologists of the Institute of Zoology of the Academy of Science of the Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic were the first to conduct an ornithological survey of the Alakol Islands, where massive nestings of gulls were discovered on Sredni Island. Among them, a new species of Kazakh fauna was discovered, the relic gull. The existence of this species was a mystery for many scientists across the world. This is why that particular discovery in the Alakol Lake in Kazakhstan was quite unique and sensational. The relic gull was subsequently registered with the International Red Book. One Kazakh ornithologist who devoted his life to the study of the relic gull was Yernar Awezov. He is the one who was the first to describe the bird inhabiting in the saline lakes in Mongolia and China. The world-famous zoological reserve Relic Gull, established on the Alakol Islands in order to preserve the unique colony of that bird, existed for almost 20 years. After that, the relay in preserving the relic gull was taken over by the Alakol State National Park, which was set up in 1998. A small rocky island called Sredni, located in the middle of the stormy lake, and the relic gull inhabiting that island, became the symbol of the new protected area. The destiny of the unique colony of the relic gull is in the hands of human beings, those who are kind and thoughtful. Back in the 1970s and 80s, there were periods of time when up to 1,200 couples of the birds were nesting on the island. In the 90s, its numbers declined and only individual couples remained on the island. In 2001, just 40 couples were settled on the island, which produced 120 nestlings. After that, the gulls appeared on the islands but did not nest. Only in 2008 did 5 couples settle down again. Issues of biodiversity and fauna protection in this region are now high on the agenda. They include technological environmental factors which are associated with the tremendous growth in the region's economy. The search for energy and petroleum resources, laying new oil pipelines from Kazakhstan to China, are factors which are causing a negative effect on the biodiversity of the region. Another example is the rapid development of tourism and summer recreation sites on the Alakol Lake coast. The western and eastern coasts of Alakol Lake have become popular with people during the summer. Rooms for rent, says this placard, thus attracting tourists and promising them rest and peace. However, people don't take into consideration the fact that the more hotels that are built on the coast, the farther birds will go to the middle of the lake. Also, their habitats, which are rather limited, are slowly but steadily being occupied by human beings.